Alright, so here we go with multi-step equations. If you wanted to follow along in the book or anything like that, that would be in Chapter 2, Section 3. Again, don't forget to check myhrw.com. hpatch19 is the username, Mustangs is the password, for more practice or videos to help you along. Our objective on this one is to solve equations in one variable using multiple steps. So that's why it's called multi-step equations. Kind of one of those duh moments. So there you go. This one we're going to do more than 2 steps. Realize that. Okay, and there's going to be different ways that what we can do with this. So I'll keep the things very simple. We're going to only look at a few examples. We're going to actually spend a couple of days on this to make sure y'all really get this down. Maybe even do some type of lessons that might be slightly different. We'll see. But sometimes we want to look at this where we say that some equations are more complicated than others. Okay. And if they're more complicated, they may have to be simplified first before using inverse operations. So we have to sometimes do something else, like the distributive property and combining like terms, before we can worry about, say, adding, subtracting, and multiplying and dividing. For example, let's look at this. 6x plus 3 minus 8x equals 13. Now, as you can see, there are 2 x's here. So we need to get it down to 1 x, or one coefficient of x. So let's combine the x's together, and we are going to say 6x minus 8x is going to be negative 2x plus 3 equals 13. And then from there it's very simple. We can add or subtract, in this case subtract, and then divide. Now keep in mind, right now all I am showing y'all is some very basic things. We're doing this to establish and build up your foundation, so that way we can go to the more complicated, when we start doing more complicated things with, say, functional relationships and stuff like that. This is very basic, so kind of remember that. And if you do have any questions on this, or if you're not understanding, again, you need to be able to ask questions in class. Alright, the next example, parentheses 4 parentheses x minus 2, close the parentheses, plus 2x equals 40. Now, we see here, we have parentheses. What do we do with those parentheses? Distribute. Yes, you do distribute. So that would be 4x minus 8 plus 2x equals 40. So what we did was that we said 4 times the x is 4x, 4 times the 2 was 8. Now you can see there are 2 x's there, so we can combine those like terms. 4x plus 2x is going to be 6x. Minus 8 would equal 40. Then we can add 8, and then we can say divide by 6. So we get 8 as an answer. So x equals 8. And again, you can double check your work. If you put the 8 there, you said 4 parentheses 8 minus 2, close it, plus 2 times 8 equals 40, you would get that same answer. Because 8 minus 2 is 6, 6 times 4 is 24, 8 times 2 is 16, and 16 plus 24 would be 40. Alright, last example I'm going to go over here for now. There might be some more notes added to this as we get into, say, more days with this, because we're going to spend a few days with this. So we'll see. So this one is one of those where you have to be careful. You have to realize there's a negative 1 here, right there, and we're still going to distribute. Sometimes people try to distribute a 6, but there's a minus there, and that means there's a 1, so you have to read that as a coefficient, and thus we got to distribute a negative 1. That will give me 9 is equal to 6 minus 1x minus 2. Combine your like terms. This time we're going to combine the 6 and the minus 2 to get a 4. So now we have 4 minus 1x, and just as you saw in the one-step equations, that 4 can be read as a plus, and we're going to subtract that 4. The negative, or the minus, goes with the 1 that's with the x, so that's a negative 1 times x. So subtract, and then you can divide by a negative 1, because we always want x to be positive, and we want x to be by itself. No more variables or coefficients, no more coefficients in front of it, so we get x is equal to negative 5. There's that for that equation. That should be pretty much it for this one. I will go over some more examples as need be, but this one's kind of short and sweet, so there you go. Good luck with this, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask on Tuesday.